I have lost count of the number of times I have sat across from someone who began with just a tiny prescription. Maybe it was lorazepam to calm the storm of a difficult week, alprazolam to take the edge off a season of anxiety, or zolpidem to survive a stretch of sleepless nights. They believed it was temporary, a bridge to get through the rough patch. But here's the quiet danger. Months turned into years, and the little orange bottle on the nightstand became as familiar as the lamp beside it. What they could not see was that their brain had been slowly adapting, shifting the way it regulates sleep, calm, and alertness. Then, when they tried to stop all at once, they were hit with a shock that felt like it came out of nowhere, nights staring at the ceiling until sunrise, waves of anxiety so sharp they felt like a stranger in their own skin, even trembling or dizziness that made simple tasks feel dangerous. If you have lived this, please hear me. It is not a sign you are weak or broken. Your brain has simply been leaning on the medication the way a body leans on a cane. Remove that support suddenly, and it stumbles. Medical research from the American Academy of Sleep Medicine and numerous neurology journals confirms that abrupt withdrawal from benzodiazepines or sedative hypnotics disrupts the brain's GABA system, which is like yanking away the brakes while the car is still moving. The good news, and I want this to be the first thing you remember, is that there is a safer, steadier path. I have walked it with many people your age and older. It is not about forcing your body to be strong overnight. It is about guiding your nervous system gently back to doing the work it was always meant to do. And that journey begins with understanding why these drugs are so hard to leave behind in the first place. The first thing you need to know is this. These medications were never meant to be lifelong companions. When they were developed decades ago, the goal was to provide short-term relief in moments of crisis, 2 weeks, maybe 3, at most 4. In those early days, they can feel like a lifeline. They quiet the racing thoughts that make bedtime a battle, ease the tightness in your chest when life feels overwhelming, and give you the gift of rest when nothing else works. But here's where the trap begins. The brain is not a static machine, it is a living, learning organ. Over time, it adjusts to the steady presence of a drug. With benzodiazepines, like lorazepam or alprazolam, or sedative hypnotics like zolpidem, your brain gradually hands over some of its natural, calming functions to the medication. Think of it like a neighborhood that once had its own strong security patrol, but then outsourced the job to a hired guard. Over months and years, the local team stands down, letting the guard handle it all. The problem? If you suddenly send the guard home, the neighborhood is left unprotected and in disarray. In your body, this shows up as sudden insomnia, crushing irritability, and anxiety that feels like a stranger moved in overnight. Some people misread these symptoms as proof they can never quit, but neuroscience tells us something different. These reactions are signs of withdrawal shock, not signs of permanent dependence. Studies in journals like The Lancet Psychiatry confirm that the GABA receptors in the brain, tiny gates that regulate calm, can recover function if given time and a gradual taper. In other words, your brain still remembers how to do this on its own. It just needs to be reminded slowly, carefully, and with the right support. Over the years, I have seen that one of the most overlooked factors in successfully stepping down from these medications is timing. Quitting is not just about the method, it's also about when you choose to start. There are seasons in life when your footing feels firm, your routines are steady, and your emotional weather is calm. Those are the moments when your odds of success are highest. On the other hand, I have also seen people try to begin in the middle of a storm, a divorce, the loss of a spouse, a serious medical diagnosis. In those times, even the most disciplined mind is already carrying more than enough weight. Forcing withdrawal, then, is like trying to rebuild your roof in the middle of a hurricane. This is not fear. It is wisdom rooted in clinical experience. You need mental and physical reserves on your side before you ask your brain to make such a profound change. I often ask my patients a few simple but powerful questions. Are you sleeping at least reasonably well? Is your daily schedule predictable enough to support healthy routines? Do you feel emotionally steady enough to handle the ups and downs that come with change? On the flip side, there are red flags that tell me it may be time to act sooner. If you have noticed you are tripping more often, struggling to focus, or even having close calls with falls, these are not just clumsy days. They are well-documented side effects of long-term sedative use. Research from the Journal of the American Geriatric Society shows a clear link between these medications and increased fall risk in older adults, along with something more insidious, gradual memory fog. It creeps in so slowly that you might not notice until one day you walk into the kitchen and cannot recall why. If any of this sounds familiar, your body may already be telling you it's time for change. Still, I must be honest. There are people whose medical needs, such as severe treatment, resistant insomnia, intense anxiety disorders, or chronic nerve pain, make continued use the most balanced choice. For them, the goal is not zero medication, but the lowest dose that allows clarity, stability, and dignity. And that choice, when made thoughtfully, is every bit as brave as quitting altogether. For many people, the hardest step in this entire process is not cutting the pill, it's starting the conversation with their doctor. I have met countless patients who hesitate because they fear being dismissed, told, "It's nothing to worry about," or advised to leave things as they are for now. But here's the truth you must hold on to. You have every right to revisit any treatment plan that touches your memory, balance, or daily quality of life. The key is to come prepared, speaking with both respect and clarity. Over the years, I have found that certain phrases open doors instead of closing them. You might say, "Doctor, I have been reading that these medications can sometimes affect memory in older adults. Could we talk about the possibility of slowly lowering my dose if you think it's safe for me?" This tells your doctor you are informed, reasonable, and committed to working as a team. Often, this leads to a thoughtful discussion and a personalized tapering plan. But sometimes, your doctor may explain that in your specific case, perhaps, because of severe insomnia paired with a condition like fibromyalgia, the benefits currently outweigh the risks. When explained clearly, this is not an evasion. It's a clinical judgment rooted in your unique situation. However, there will be times when the response you get is vague, rushed, or dismissive. In those moments, I recommend a question that reframes the conversation on a human level. If I were your mother, would you keep me on this exact treatment? I have watched that question change the tone instantly, leading to more open and honest discussions. And if even that does not create space for dialogue, it may be time to seek a second opinion, not as a challenge, but as a way to bring fresh eyes to your care. The partnership you build with your physician is more than just important. It is the foundation for every safe, successful step forward you will take. If there is one rule I cannot repeat enough, it is this: never stop these medications abruptly. I have seen people try it, and the consequences can be severe confusion, intense anxiety, toxic brain reactions, and in some cases even seizures. Neurology research confirms that sudden withdrawal from benzodiazepines or sedative hypnotics can destabilize the brain's GABA system so dramatically that it becomes a medical emergency. Think of it like slamming your brakes on a highway at full speed. You might stop safely, but there's a very real chance you will lose control and end up in the ditch. The safer way is slow, deliberate, and tailored entirely to you. There is no universal chart that works for everyone, no matter what you read online. The best tapering plans I have seen, backed by guidance from the American Geriatric Society and sleep medicine experts, start by reducing the dose by about 5 to 10% every 2 to 4 weeks. And when you reach the smallest doses, it may be even slower, 2 or 3% a month, because your brain is relearning to function without the medication's constant influence. Picture walking down a staircase that narrows with every step. The lower you go, the more balance you need. Sometimes, especially with short-acting drugs like alprazolam, it helps to switch to a longer-acting medication, such as diazepam, before continuing the taper. This can soften the withdrawal and reduce the jolts that cause many people to give up. Along the way, expect small, manageable changes, slightly lighter sleep, moments of irritability, a touch of anxiety. These are not signs of failure. They are signals that your brain is recalibrating. But if you feel overwhelming insomnia, severe dizziness, or uncontrolled shaking, that is your signal to pause and speak with your doctor immediately. The goal is not to race to zero, but to arrive at a place where your mind is clear, your body steady, and your life balanced with the least medication necessary. When you take away a support your body has leaned on for years, you don't sprint forward, you take careful steps, making sure you have other supports in place. That is why I often tell my patients to think of tapering as trading one kind of help for another. You are not replacing a pill with another pill. You are building a set of daily habits that protect your sleep, your mood, and your balance while your nervous system adjusts. For sleep, treat your nightly routine like it is a prescription. Eat a light, early dinner. Keep your bedroom cool, quiet, and dim. Shut down screens, television, phone, computer, at least 1 full hour before bedtime. These small choices send your brain the same message every night. It is safe to rest. In some cases, and only with your doctor's approval, a small dose of melatonin can help not as a sleeping pill, but as a gentle nudge to reset your body's internal clock. Interestingly, research shows that many older adults sleep better with as little as 0.5 milligram, rather than the higher doses you see in stores. During the day, give your brain and body regular signals that everything is steady. A 20 to 30-minute walk outdoors not only lifts mood, but also reinforces healthy circadian rhythms. I also teach a simple but powerful breathing technique. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, exhale for 8. Repeat this 3 or 4 times before bed or whenever you feel anxiety creeping in. And remember, there is no weakness in needing more than lifestyle changes. Cognitive behavioral therapy, especially programs designed for insomnia, is proven in multiple clinical trials to be as effective as medication for many people, and when paired with a slow taper, it dramatically increases success rates. If I had to choose only 3 tools for your survival kit, they would be a consistent bedtime routine, intentional breathing, and daily movement, even if it's only 10 minutes on tough days. Each of these tells your brain, I am safe, I am in control, and I can do this. One of the most important truths I share with my patients is that recovery is rarely a straight road. It's not a tidy climb from struggle to freedom. It's more like walking along a shoreline where waves come and go. Some days the water is calm. Other days a sudden swell might push you back a few steps, but that does not mean you are sinking. In the first few weeks, expect your sleep to be a little lighter, your mood to fluctuate, and anxiety to occasionally knock on your door. These are not signs of failure. They are simply your nervous system adjusting to a new rhythm. By the 2nd and 3rd month, many people start to notice windows periods when the mental fog lifts, focus sharpens, and everyday tasks feel easier. But you may still have waves, days when symptoms return for no obvious reason. This pattern has been documented in clinical withdrawal studies and is so common it has a name among specialists: the waves and windows cycle. Understanding it can help you avoid the trap of thinking, I'm back to square one. By the 6-month mark, if the taper has been slow and steady, most people report sleeping better, thinking more clearly, and feeling more emotionally balanced. For some, especially those who have taken these medications for decades, it can take closer to a year before stability feels natural again. And in certain cases, the wisest and safest choice, confirmed by research in geriatric psychiatry, is to maintain a very low, stable dose for life. That is not a defeat. It is a medically sound balance between clarity, safety, and quality of life. Every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. Just as every wave eventually retreats, your better days will become more frequent and more stable over time. Letting go of these medications is about far more than shutting the cap on a bottle and tucking it away in a drawer. It is about reclaiming the parts of yourself you may have forgotten were there, the clarity of mind that makes conversation lively, the steady balance that lets you move with confidence, the deep and natural rest that leaves you ready for the day ahead. I have seen men and women in their 70s and 80s take this step and later tell me, with a quiet pride, that it feels like they have been given back 10 years of life. If you have tried before and could not complete the journey, I want you to know this: it is never too late to try again, and it is never a failure to decide that the right path for you is a small, stable dose that allows you to live with dignity and joy. The real success is not in reaching zero, but in reaching a life that feels whole, steady, and yours again. If you are in the middle of this decision now, or if you have a loved one who is, your story matters. When you share it, you might be giving someone else the courage to take their own first step. I have seen entire families change for the better because one person asked, "What if I could live with less?" Sometimes the right conversation, at the right moment, can open a door that has been locked for years. And if you want to understand more about how these drugs affect your brain and memory, look for trusted medical resources, because the first step toward freedom is seeing the whole picture clearly. You are not alone in this journey. No matter your age, there is still time to take back the best years of your life.